Grab your headphones, listen up, you know you love it. Drop the facade. Like the Dark Knight detective, they've got some perspective. They're a pure crime-fighting collective. It's the Bat Pod.
Welcome to this episode of Gotham Currents. My name is Bill Beer, and joining me as always, John Coos.
Absolute Robin.
Absolute Robin. Absolute Robin is coming. What do you think Absolute Robin's going to be?
The redheaded girl from Dark Knight Returns?
Oh.
You know already, huh?
No, I have no idea.
Dick Grayson.
I would assume.
Let's hope so.
I would assume. So, tonight, we are back to another episode of Gotham Currents. We got a little Absolute Batman number 6, Detective Comics 1095, Batman 158. We're headed into Hush 2, Nightwing 124, and Batman and Robin Year 1, number 6.
The Bat Pod is a spoiler podcast. Please read the comics we're reviewing so you can enjoy the show.
So our first book tonight is going to be Absolute Batman number 6.
All right, cool.
And we get a cover here. You got a Batman looks like he's jumping falling from a building in flames.
Yes, it does.
Which saw it last issue. What did you think of that cover?
The downward shot.
Yeah.
He looks in peril a little bit.
Yeah, most
But
definitely.
it's a cool cover, though. I'm
Yeah.
glad there's not a lot of white.
No, that's nice to see.
Yeah,
So your writer is Scott Snyder, art and cover Nick Giurgata, colorist Frank Martin, letter Clayton Cowles, and editor Katie Kubert. And in this issue, Black Mask has made his move and has supplied the citizens of Gotham with weapons to join his party animals. Waylon Jones is ready with a bat in his hand, just waiting for somebody to bust in his gym for a fight, and finds that a beat-up Bruce has wandered in. Bruce tells Waylon that he's Batman and he needs help. Flashback to Bruce waking up from a nightmare after his father had been shot, and he goes to his mother to be consoled. In the present, Gotham and Martha find a crate of masks as they are being surrounded. Martha puts on one of the masks, which has a heads-up display and lets the wearer know how much money they'll make for certain crimes. Next, we see Batman being berated by Ozzy as his whole friend group knows he's Batman. Ozzy is flying in a plane as Batman has to leap onto a boat that will take that Black Mask is currently using with his servers for his network. Batman leaps, and we get a panel of Absolute Batman gets his Dark Knight Returns moment with lightning in the background. Batman lands, takes out the Black Mask men. As a thug's son tries to stab Batman, Batman becomes a punter and boots the kid off the boat. The mom sees Batman, then leaves off the boat. Batman tosses her a life preserver to see that she's not hurt. Martha and Gordon are trying to talk down some thugs from playing Black Mask game, but the party animals see that they are worth $1 million if they're killed. Batman and Black Mask meet on the boat. Batman hands Black Mask a beating, but quickly gets the tables turned on him as Black Mask has a wire wrapped around Batman's neck. While this is happening, we flash back to Bruce with his mother. After the nightmare, she is telling him how Thomas was always so helpful about him. Batman then has his ears on his cowl adjust to where he can stab through Black Mask's helmet, taking out his eyes. Martha and Gordon are still in a Martha and Gordon are still in a standoff as Batman destroys Black Mask's boat and cuts down the power to the party animal's mask. Where now they think they will get no money for killing Martha. Martha punches them as she and Gordon embrace. Alfred saves Batman from drowning and starts to patch him up. And the issue ends where we see Roman Sionis, mysterious benefactor, says, "Get ready for Bane." So, a lot going on in this issue.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot going on. I love this issue. This actually, I know part 5 initially was supposed to wrap up this arc, but they said they extended it to issue 6.
Did they?
Yes. Yes. You don't think they did?
This is my favorite issue of the series so far.
Oh,
now,
absolutely.
Not taking anything away from the other issues, but this was great. I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, it was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
So, I guess I want to start at the beginning. The big reveal to Waylon. For those of you who don't know who Waylon is, he's in, I guess you'd call it
Killer Croc.
Prime One. I don't know, whatever. Normal universes, he's Killer Croc, and that tips off. That pretty much sets off everybody in his friend group knowing he's Batman, which is different, obviously. And this is a different universe and stuff. But the I don't know. I could just go on. I mean, I could go page by page. I mean, this you covered it, so we wouldn't have to redo all that. But I love the Sionis or Black Mask was just basically dropping crates of these masks and setting these prices on different people's heads and different crimes as well. Robbery 50 grand, arson 100 grand, murder for 250, and then certain people like the deputy mayor and the mayor $1 million each. And the average thug is just with the weapons and the price tags. What do you think is going to happen, right? And so it was pretty cool. I don't know. I could literally just and that whole Ozzy thing. Has Oswald Cobblepot ever been called Ozzy before? I know it's a weird question.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's pretty cool.
I guess
it makes
it's
sense.
Possible.
It makes perfect sense, though, right?
Yeah.
And the art of his face looks like he is totally not down with this.
No, he's not too happy at all.
Yeah, he's screaming.
And they go through all the friends, and it's like nobody knew. It says Eddie guessed it. He guessed it weeks ago.
Yeah. And one thing I thought was cool, I don't know if it was questionable yet or not. We could talk about it, whether or not this Batman in this universe what was adhering to the no killing policy. I think we've kind of established that, but
yeah, I think he has the code. He has.
Well, he definitely. He went out of his way here to put the life preservers on these people.
Yeah. But maiming and injuring and breaking bones, that doesn't count.
Chopping off arms,
right?
Everything else,
right?
And it's funny. You texted me a week ago or whatever it was about the drop kick of the. I mean, it's what is that? The child looks so small. What is he, like a toddler?
I don't know. He's enough to hold he's enough to hold a knife, and it's like once he thinks he's in trouble, he's like, "What are you doing? Stop! I'm just a kid," and he just decides to punt the kid.
I would love to ask Scott Snyder and the artist about these black masks, not the ones that they give others with the scully ones. Like this is it's like this weird glass orb thing. It's so weird looking.
Almost like a bowling ball.
Yeah, it's really strange. And does it have functionality? Does it have computer sort of virtual reality stuff in there too? You think?
I'm sure it does.
Yeah. And
I find it amusing that, at one point some bowling balls get knocked over, and Batman picks up and starts beating them with a bowling ball.
It's crazy. But yeah, the bowling balls. But you think that Black Mask is hopped up because he's kind of, I mean, he's not skinny in the sense that he's not muscular. He's sort of like Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers skinny, kind of like really skinny but kind of ripped at the same time. But how could he go toe to toe with Batman unless he was like on some drugs or something? I don't know. It just, what do you think about that?
It could be possible. I mean, he's definitely in shape, that's for sure. He's not this scrawny little dude, but he only gets upper hand on him when he gets that rope and puts it around his neck.
That's true. And then that scene where it's a full page. It's a full page, right? Where Batman puts his ears, I guess, into the mask, right?
Right.
When I first saw that, I go, "Oh shoot, he just had to have killed him right there." But I guess it just probably punctured his eyes out, right?
Yeah, I would assume. I mean, his ears are pretty big in this, so it almost looks like he goes into his brain, but I guess it's just he just blinded him.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting that at all. That was a shock.
So, what do you think? What's your take on? Alfred got really mad at him for what he did in the previous was it the previous issue? And Alfred basically just kind of wrote him off.
Right, but he wrote him off. But I think him going after his daughter, and he was going to try to force her to leave,
and she said no.
And she said no, and that if you do this, that she'll disown him.
Right.
And he just sort of came to his senses, and it's like, yeah, I need to help him on his mission.
Yeah.
So he did a big turn here, which you knew that was going to happen. Well, they weren't going to.
I didn't think it would happen in one issue though, or two issues, but that's fine.
No,
I'm glad.
We're up to 6, so that was
I'm glad. Yeah, and this Joker. I mean, we don't have the panels up, but what do you make of what's going on with his body?
To describe him, it looks like he's on some kind of drug. And there's something in his veins, but he has this. It looks like he has babies' heads all over. I don't know if that's something he's wearing.
I don't know. It's very sick.
Or what it is. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it's pretty gross. So you being I mean, I think you have you already read the new one on the stands?
No.
So
no, I always wait till we do the one before to read the next.
So this is gonna that was kind of formally the end of an arc, right?
Yep.
Black Mask done, gang blown up, whatever, and so we're going into.
I don't think his network is done. I think this arc M is going to be, in future issues.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I wonder. I mean, is the next one going to be about? It's probably about Bane, obviously, because it says "Get Bane."
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay.
If when Bane shows up, but I know next issue number 7. We get a different rogue show up that we have not seen.
Well, among the friend group, let's close this out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just recap for everybody who's in the friend group. You got Killer Croc, you got Catwoman, you got Riddler, Penguin, and Harvey Dent, Two-Face.
Yep.
So that leaves us with the Scarecrow for sure, Bane, maybe Raj, maybe not. We'll see, Raj Al Ghul. But you think it's going to be a big one, like a Scarecrow or something like that?
Oh, you want me to tell you? I know who it's going to be.
Yeah, sure. Well, it doesn't spoil it.
It's Mr. Freeze.
Oh, Mr. Freeze. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, that could be cool.
It's a very different take from what the images that I've seen. So.
Okay, good. All right, that'll be fun. Something to look forward to. All right. What's the next up on our docket here?
So next, we're gonna have a little Detective Comics.
Yeah, so I was going to ask you before we get into this. So this episode, we're covering basically the Batman, the 3 big Batman books on the stands.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you got your stack, I always ask, and all 3 of them were laid out in front of you, and you had to pick one and not read another one for a whole day, which one of you, a Batman Detective and Absolute Batman, would you have read in that condition?
It would be Absolute Batman.
Okay.
Number 1.
All right.
It would
That's
be-
fine.
Okay.
Just
Detective
curious.
would be number 2.
Okay. Yeah. I'd be Detective 1 and then probably Absolute number 2. But okay, let's move on to this. Okay, so we've got Detective 1095, Mercy of the Father, Part 6. We got writer Tom Taylor, art Mikel Janin, inks Norm Rapman, colors Alex Guimarães, letters Wes the Wordsmith Abbott, and editor Ben Mears. Let's go over this cover, Bill. What'd you think of this one?
I like this a lot. He's standing on a gargoyle on top of a building, and you see the vantage point from looking up.
Mm-hmm.
And you got the moon and bats in the background. I really enjoyed this cover a lot.
I did too. It'd be like if it didn't have the DC bullet and the all in and the it'd be a good poster.
Oh, yeah.
A good Batman poster. So it's cool.
Yeah.
So all right, moving into this great story. We can't speak well enough of how Tom Taylor's doing on this. So in the depths of the Batcave, Bruce Wayne hides, shrouded in darkness, his spirit crushed by devastating news. Oracle's digital pleas and Clark Kent's words of encouragement fall on deaf ears, but the gentle touch of Dr. Leslie Tompkins, a family friend, cracks open the door to his battered soul. With tender words, she coaxes Bruce to confront the shadows of his past. A long-buried connection between Thomas and Martha Wayne's murderer, Joe Chill, and the man himself sends Bruce down a rabbit hole of conspiracy and doubt. Leslie's urging ignites a fire with him, and as Batman, he sets out to confront Chill. The air thickens with tension as Batman stands face to face with the man who destroyed his childhood. Chill's pistol glints, transporting Batman back to that fateful night. But the Dark Knight quickly regains his footing, pinning Chill to the wall. Batman's interrogation reveals a decades-old car accident and a mysterious woman and child who vanished into thin air. Convinced Chill's words hold truth, Batman spares his life and joins Leslie in the Batmobile. The mystery deepens as they discuss the cryptic envelope left by Asima, the masked killer, infused with Martha Wayne's perfume. As Batman and Leslie depart, Asima strikes, shrouding Chill's fate in darkness. Meanwhile, Commissioner Vandal Savage unleashes a phalanx of GCPD officers on the Iceberg Lounge, his warning to Penguin a veiled threat. Later, Superman meets Batman, tasked with publishing explosive evidence that the Theromy's health clinic's illicit procedures. The issue culminates in a shocking explosion as Batman bursts into Scott's office, her protestations of innocence lost amidst the chaos. So that was a pretty cool story. Bill, what'd you think of it?
I like this a lot. We're finally getting to the part, almost to the part we saw in the first issue of this arc where Joe Chill has been taken and Batman's given an option to kill him. But, continuing from last issue, he finally got the truth about Joe Chill and Scarlet Martha Scott, and he's really having issues. He's really having issues if Joe Chill, the biggest issue is if Joe Chill knew that what Martha Wayne did to get his wife and child away from him, and that him killing them was revenge, basically.
Right.
Which would have changed a lot in continuity. So I'm sort of glad that didn't come to be, but I enjoyed this seeing this play out. Seeing it play out, and we even get Superman coming to check on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I like
Always love that.
yeah, I like Leslie Tompkins and the role she played, and then it culminates with him meeting up with Chill, and Tom Taylor gets his character. I do have to say that he gets his
for
character.
sure. Oh, yeah, and the art just it's great. Well, are you thought for sure that Scarlet was Asima? Are you convinced otherwise yet?
No, I'm not. I have a theory of who it might be.
I thought you thought she was her for sure before.
I did. My mind changed a little with this issue.
Okay.
From her actions
Mm-hmm.
and what she says and the look on her face. Because when she's on I guess she is talking to him, FaceTime or whatever you call it, on video.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then when she's there in person, she acts like, this isn't. Could this possibly be? She said her mother died. Could this possibly be her mother?
Oh, that's a good theory. That's not out of line.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Huh. One thing I really liked with the Superman interaction wasn't just the fact that I love seeing cameos of people like Superman in Batman books. I do admit I'm a sucker for that, but I loved this page where, Batman probably just, used his signal watch or whistled or something. Superman shows up and Batman presents him with this evidence that this Thermes organization is basically sucking the blood out of orphans and troubled youth. And Superman, there's a panel where Superman is reading what Batman wrote, and it says, "This is monstrous." And then he says, "You can contribute the story to Batman." So Clark Kent's gonna. So I don't know if I've ever seen. I love being surprised. We talk about how there's been thousands of stories about Batman and Superman stuff. I don't remember. I'm sure there's somebody out there that would, if that ever happened before, with Batman using Clark Kent as a journalist to report and get something out there so his fingers aren't all over it or something, or what I'm saying, like have you ever seen? I don't think that's why I love Tom Taylor. He comes up with this stuff. It's not a huge thing, but it's like different.
Yeah, it's nice to see that. I mean, for those of you that haven't been reading this book or haven't ever experienced Tom Taylor before, I'm just gonna give you my favorite page
in this book.
In this book, and it's when he confronts Chill, and Chill holds a gun to him, and he says, "What the heck do you want?" And the middle panel says, "For a moment, I'm 18 years old again, frozen, powerless to stop a bullet. But the moment passes quickly." It's just, he gets this character.
For sure. That was a great page.
Yes,
I'm looking at it right now.
There's a lot of Batman writers, but not everybody gets who he is. And I feel like he gets this character pretty well.
Well, yeah, because Batman doesn't flinch.
No.
But if he's going to look into the face of the guy who killed his parents, he might for a second go back to the alley, go back to Crime Alley, and then snap out of it because he's Batman. I love that. You were right. That is a great page.
Right.
It's a great page.
So I think what we haven't seen until this issue, we have, at the end there, we get that big explosion, and it's Elixir. And we get a little bit of who these people are, with Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin, is asked not to pursue, don't ask questions about this murder or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that might be our overarching story, this company and what they're trying to do. I'm really, the only thing that I would raise an eyebrow at in this issue is this all was just a blood transfusion
Mm-hmm.
where he felt better. Would that really give you, in the real world, if I got a blood transfusion by somebody younger, would it make me feel younger? Or do you think it's more to it than that?
God. Gonna make me think about the real world when reading superhero books.
Yeah, probably not a good idea.
But I see your point. So let's get back to what you just brought up, though, real quick about the about Vandal Savage. Is it's like he tells Penguin to kind of lay off the kid thing?
Mm.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, well, he tells him that, you know, he says he has this gentleman with him, but he doesn't really. He said, "You've been asking some questions about a killer."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yeah, I wanted some answers." And he says, "You were given a name for this killer by a man who will never speak again."
Yeah,
and he mentions Asima. And he says, "I know these. I've known these people for a long time. Even by my standards, you stop asking questions and continue living your life and enjoying your position." And then the gentleman speaks up. He almost looks like Wesley Snipes from Blade.
Mm-hmm.
He said, "We could destroy your city tomorrow. Gotham is clearly sick, and we have burned plague cities in the past."
Yeah.
And then he tells Oswald, Savage does, "We both have ambitions for Gotham, Oswald. All of it could end if you poke at this further."
Yeah, so Vandal's tied to Asima and the whole operation.
Yeah,
in
I don't
some
know
way.
if he's tied to it, but he has some connection.
Yeah, he's got some connection. Well, I don't want to. I don't want to belabor the point about the Chill and Batman interaction, but I will for a second because there's another. It's not so much the panels; it's just the story. It's like, if you're Batman, you've been living all your life. Your parents got blown away in front of you. You shortly thereafter find out there was this Joe Chill guy. Now Tom Taylor introduces this flashback sequence where Joe Chill's wife has a baby. She needs to escape them, blah, 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 blah. And then Joe Chill, then Joe Chill, then Joe Chill kills the Waynes. Well, Batman wants to find out if Joe Chill killed the Waynes for revenge, and then he finds out, as you covered, that no, it's coincidental that Chill killed the Waynes probably randomly, nothing to do with that. I just thought that was like we talked about this before, like, in terms of continuity and artists being too cute and trying to change history. That whole story's told without really changing any of the history of the killing in the alley, and so we have a couple issues where that Joe Chill could have killed them out of revenge, and then Tom Taylor pulls back and says, nope, he didn't. And I really respect that. He created a great story around a familiar tale, but resisted the urge to change continuity.
Yeah, but I think the story, that
great.
he was telling, I think it was a very good story.
Oh, no, totally. No, I agree. That's why I love it.
So one more panel I want to bring up to you
Sure.
is when, after Batman leaves Joe Chill, Asima enters.
Yep.
And the first thing she says to him, so much more, he's like, "What do you want, to hit me again?" And she says, "So much more than that, Joseph."
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's why I think it might be the mother, because she's calling him Joseph?
Yeah, I can see that. I also, now I feel like I gotta go back to the first book of this arc and see if she referred to him as Joseph or not. I love it. You might be onto something here.
Yeah, I mean,
and Scarlet is acting funky and scared over the last few issues, and if it's her mother who's doing this, she's torn.
And who is this woman with the mask?
Is that her?
No, I have no idea. I don't have an idea.
Well, to be continued.
And why is she wearing a mask?
I don't know. Maybe she's got COVID or something. I don't know. I don't know why she's wearing
I
a
guess
mask.
that's possible.
Was she ever scarred?
I don't know. I don't even know who this lady. They haven't given her a name that I know of.
Well, it seems like Scarlet is intimidated by her for sure, right?
Something's going on. They have some kind of.
Yeah. All right.
It'll be interesting.
So what are we hitting up next? I'm going to guess.
We're going to do a little Batman 158 Hush 2.
Right. Yeah.
Hush 2. Everybody's excited for Hush 2. What was your excitement level when you found out there was going to be a Hush 2? Were you right there? It's like...
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, I was sort of the same way. I was scratching my head a little bit because I realized that Hush 1, what it is and what it was.
Yeah.
It was basically awesome art.
Yeah.
And a tour around Gotham City to see all the different characters. I think it was a little lacking on story, but overall it did what it was supposed to do. I don't know if we're at the point that I'm wishing there was a second one, but
I agree, actually. I always kind of considered that sort of a one and done thing because, but that's never the case.
Yes.
Eventually they'll come back around.
So
okay,
Batman 158, Hush 2 Part 1. We get a cover here. Jim Lee cover of you got Hush 2 on there and Batman just flying holding his cape. What did you think of this cover?
I liked it actually. It's nothing, if you know, at first glance it's nothing really special, but it's a nice cover.
And you know, I really like how Jim Lee draws Batman.
I do too.
I love it. I mean, you can say what you want about it, but it's different than anything else, and I really enjoy it for what it is.
I do too. I think Jim Lee's great. The only problem is that sometimes when he's on books, they get delayed.
Right.
So,
well, here's the thing with this book. If before I get into it, Hush 2 is going to be 6 parts.
Okay.
Then there's going to be a break. And then there's going to be 6 more.
Okay.
Which, I don't know.
So it's going to be like a 1 issue break or like a 6 issue
No,
break?
because, you know, they're starting a new creative team. Yeah, new creative team here in, I think it's September or October. And I would think they would do... Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say.
All right.
So we'll jump into this. Your writers, Jeff Loeb. Pencils, Jim Lee. Inks, Scott Williams. Colors, Alex Sinclair. Letters, Richard Starkling. And editor, Rob Levin. And in this issue, the Joker's on the loose again, using some of his old tricks like poisoning Gotham's reservoir and filling it with laughing fish. After a short fight with the Joker kicks Batman into the Gotham River. Batman activates his cowl electrifying failsafe, which I thought he activated his cowl. We'll get into more of that later. He kills the laughing fish, and he's also kind of electrocuted also in the water. He is saved by Talia al Ghul. The Joker is taken by a hawking figure named Silence as him and Hush kidnap the Joker. Hush tortures him by placing a nightmarish device in his mouth and strapping him to a spinning wheel of death and throwing scalpels at him like a pincushion. Back in the cave, Batman discovers his suit circuitry was compromised and the Bat family's communication signal has been jammed, as he tells Nightwing and Batgirl Barbara Gordon before cutting contact. Using forensic traces from the Joker's shoe, Batman tracks him to the old amusement park we have seen before. There he finds the Joker still tied to the wheel, surrounded by television screens showing his past crimes. as Batman finds the Joker, he discovers Hush has returned.
Yes.
So this first part here, I mean, I don't know what to I don't know what to think of this. I enjoyed what they're going for in this first issue by taking the Joker, bringing up all these past, I guess, failures of Batman, and basically Hush is just shoving it in his face. And giving him a chance not to kill the Joker, but to kill the Joker but not doing anything because the Joker's dying.
Mm-hmm.
And he gives him a chance. He knows what he's going to do. But what did you think overall about this?
Well, I love the art. Let's start on the positive.
Mm-hmm.
I think all throughout, it's fantastic. What I was a little surprised about, if this is like in continuity, like right after Chip Zdarsky's run, it seemed like it was too soon for the Joker, but I know they're selling this more as a future graphic novel, big seller kind of thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not that concerned about the ongoing reader going, wait a minute.
I don't know how
we
much.
just saw the Joker like 3 months ago or 4 months
I don't know
ago.
how close in continuity this is actually going to. I think it's going to be in continuity, but it could be placed,
but not like chronological to like what's going exactly
it's possible,
on.
Yeah,
whatever. Fine. But I loved. I don't know who this Silence character is. I guess he's Hush's minion or something.
Something like that.
But this scene with Batgirl and Nightwing's cool. He's flipping around doing goofy stuff, whatever. But the scene with Talia, I thought was, I hate to say the word sexy. I mean, she looks amazing, and it's like it made me wonder, like, why don't they got a kid together? Why don't they just stay together? I mean, look at her. But it was cool how she said, "Look, I need you to live because you're raising my son." Kind of like I thought that was kind of cool. It makes sense.
And the other thing that he says, "You almost died tonight. I cannot have that."
Yeah.
There's a great number of people that believe in you, and the more there are to be disappointed in you when you fail, basically.
Yeah, it was really cool. Now, this whole thing about, I mean, why is Hush torturing Joker?
That's a good question.
But
I mean, what is the reason that he's doing all this is to get at Bruce.
Sure,
but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but there's a couple of things I want to point out that I thought was a little bit of a reach. I mean, it's almost like, oh, I see. It's like you might as well hit me over the head with, this is from The Killing Joke. I mean, it's almost a little too much. Then they go in the Funhouse thing, and how the heck would Hush
have images of
Gordon being in a gimp suit and naked, and Barbara Gordon shot with her spine through the floor? Through her, with Joker shot. How would he have any of these pictures? How would he have pictures of Joker beating Jason with a crowbar? I mean, was that a little over the top for you? I thought it was.
As I said, this is being written, I believe, for not necessarily all the Batman fans. This is being written for fans of the casual readers.
This is being written for people who read The Killing Joke and Hush, the first one.
yeah, that's what it feels like, and they know all the major events, and it's like, oh, I would love to see the script to this that shows these three images, because how are these three? Was video taken? I know there were pictures, unless these are just images. Because I know there were pictures taken of Barbara Gordon being shot.
There was pictures taken of her, and there was
pictures
taken of Jim Gordon. I don't think there was any pictures
I wouldn't think so.
Where Jason got beat with a crowbar, though.
Right.
So yeah, okay. So it's for those who read Killing Joke and Death in the Family and Hush.
That's what it feels like, because I didn't go into I wasn't really necessarily looking that forward to this. Yeah, I would like to see Hush character show up in a good story, but this feels very eventy because they made like 25 to 30 different covers for this release.
Sure.
And I went to the comic shop and they had tons of issues, like more issues than a Batman usually has. Like they thought everybody was going to be picking this up.
Well, I'd like to check out some of those variant covers. They're probably some of them are probably pretty beautiful, but they're just
I liked he put on the yellow oval bat suit. I like seeing that. I don't know where this is going.
Because the other one got so messed up. Is that why he did it, or is it because
it was compromised, basically?
Well, that's the kind of suit he wears in The Killing Joke and in Death in the Family.
Yeah. I just don't. If I want to see a couple things out of this, I want to get into more of the backstory of who Hush is. And a little bit more of it. I know we know some of it, but his motivations, I'm just not going to get, he was, remember Hush 1, he was, friend of Bruce Wayne, and he's jealous of him and that sort of thing. That's why he does what he does. But that doesn't always make a good story. I want some good characterization of where we are now. So I don't know how this is going to be. We'll still cover it because it's the Batman proper book. But I wouldn't say this was my favorite issue. I enjoyed it overall, but not like, all the reviewers out there are going to give this a 10 and say this is the best issue of Batman in years.
I see your point. But I'll remain open-minded. I've just never been except for the fact that Jim Lee drew it and Jeff Loeb wrote it and all this other stuff. I never saw like what was the giant deal about Hush except to begin with.
The biggest thing about Hush is for a moment there we thought it was Jason Todd, and it was said that Jason Todd actually switched places with Hush, and then Clayface got thrown in there. If you remember that scene from the first one.
But Jason Todd hadn't been resurrected yet.
No, he hadn't been resurrected yet, but they wanted to make you think that, I'm sure it was already in the works, and it was sort of like a tease.
Maybe.
So I know we're going to get Red Hood in here, so it'll be interesting to see the next part. I mean,
we'll see how
it'll be interesting.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm assuming we're doing Nightwing next.
Yeah, a little Nightwing.
Nightwing. Cover here, Nightwing. All right, I'll do the build up here first. We got the Nightwing 124 on with the show finale. Ringmaster, writer Dan Waters, artist Dexter Soy, colors Veronica Gandini, letters Wes the Wordsmith Abbott, and editor Jessica Burby. Pretty, all right cover, right? I mean,
yeah, it's a cool looking cover.
Got a lot of movement. Cool. Is he dragging his Screama sticks on the pavement or something?
It looks like it.
What's he doing that for?
Just to have an effect they could draw. I don't know.
All right, let me get into this. So Nightwing's desperate bid to save the dying, mutated members of the Flyboys gang pushes him to the brink of death. donating a staggering 6 pints of blood to the gang members in a bid to dilute the deadly mutagen coursing through their veins. Nightwing's own life hangs in the balance. As he teeters on the edge of collapse, the dark and sinister figure of the Zanny emerges, taunting Nightwing with his own darkest fears. The stakes are high, and the outcome is far from certain. 2 of the Flyboys succumb to their fate. They die, but 1 life is saved thanks to Nightwing's transfusions. Meanwhile, the tension between the Teddies and the Flyboys simmers, only to be diffused by the youngest Teddy's intervention, showcasing a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos. As Nightwing struggles to regain his footing, he's confronted with the harsh reality of his half-sister's decision to unleash robotic terror on the streets of Bloodhaven. His half-sister being the mayor. The revelation that Olivia, the head of Spheric, is secretly a member of the mysterious and sinister Cirque du Sin adds another layer of complexity to this unfolding drama. With Nightwing's world spinning out of control, a young Teddy boy steps up, taking down a robot and emblazoned with a shirt emblazoned with the Nightwing symbol, a beacon of hope in a city torn apart. So, we've gone high and low on this story, Bill. We were kind of high on some of the stuff that Nightwing's doing, and some kind of low on the trying to figure out if the Zanny is in people's heads or if it's real. Where you stand on this arc right now? Which is,
I'm enjoying it overall. I have no clue. I guess here's the thing. When supernatural elements head into Gotham and Bloodhaven here, it doesn't make sense to me all that much because they're not heroes that battle the supernatural that much. And this seems like a supernatural villain of some sort. I mean, it's so bizarre.
The page turning and weird stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's basically seeing a vision. The Dick Grayson, who's doing this transfusion, sees the Zanny. As the Zanny pulls up, the panel to show you Dick Grayson, he's like pulling it up like a cover or something. And he's like, "You've seen me for the second time ever." And I mentioned, I don't know if you looked earlier today, I sent you this link about this article because he says we're children of Wortham. And Wortham was a psychiatrist that deemed in the 30s there were social activists and different things concerned the risk that comics book posed for youth. And he was the doctor. He was a forensic psychiatrist that deemed these works of art, a danger to children. I just found that a little interesting. It had nothing that told me who this character is or what this character is. Do you have any thoughts about who or what this thing is?
No, I don't. It's just like the other goofy supernatural whatever dude from Batman and Robin, the Memento Mori guy. It's the same kind of thing. I agree with you. What you said before is like supernatural in the sort of Batverse is kind of mid to me, kind of like leave that to the Spectre and Deadman and Zatanna.
Now, if you're going to cross over one of those characters into the book, that's a different story. But we got Dick Grayson here. And Columbina.
Yes, Columbina.
Or whatever you want to call her. She kind of, we don't even get a reveal here. She kind of peels her face off. And do you have any idea what she's supposed to look like, or what, the sister, Dick Grayson's sister, is like? What's wrong with your face?
Oh, no, I don't know.
Does she look like the Zanny, you think, or would
I
that
don't
even
know.
make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense. But I mean, look, it's not bad. It's not bad.
No.
But at times it's kind of like, are they trying to do too much with all these layers of, you got the Flyboys and
there is a lot of layers to this.
Gangs, and you got
he's trying to save all these gangs,
and there's this crime wave, and there's the sister, and they're hiring RoboCop, and out of
they got
out of Detroit.
animals controlling these robots and that sort of thing. What seems very familiar to me, if you're reading Batman and Robin and Nightwing, the themes are very close, because Nightwing is seeing visions of things that aren't there, that are related to this Zanny. As, excuse me, Batman is seeing,
mental Maury.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. It's like, it's funny. Well, we talked about that before. It seems like, did they map this stuff out as well as they could, where you got a couple books going on at the same time that are both exploring this weird notion that Batman's putting children in danger? Didn't I just read that in another book just like 2 weeks ago? But like, it is kind of, there's a lot of parallels here. Maybe it's just accidental, but yeah, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, I don't have any idea. I don't have any thoughts of.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not even like in suspense of what's going to happen in this book. I like, whatever, let's get to the next arc. I'm kind of done with these gangs and the spheric thing and the
yeah,
Zanny
I think the gang thing has
played out.
Yeah. I think it's sort of run its course.
I think what could be interesting is a build up between him and his sister. We'll see. I mean, obviously she's armed the police department to the teeth, and he's not happy with that. Is there going to be any interpersonal fallout over that whole thing? I'm kind of interested in that, I suppose.
Yeah,
but why isn't she talking to him more? I mean, if you're talking about she trusts him, and all of a sudden she seems like under the spell of this Columbina guy, or whatever her name is. She almost seems like dumb. Like, okay, I'll just hire more tanks or buy more tanks from you. I don't know. Doesn't seem like she's got a lot of depth right now, the mayor.
Yeah, not making good decisions. And then she sees that she fell into a trap, and she's trying to stop. And then the lady basically Olivia takes her face off.
Sure. Why not? Well, I should add some more weirdness to this story.
I don't know.
All right. So, okay, I think we're done with that. And let's end on one of our favorites that you're going to cover.
A little Batman and Robin Year One.
Love this book. Yep.
And we get a cover here. We have Robin on a tightrope, walking, keeping his balance. He's on top of the city. What'd you think of this cover?
Well, it's cool because on the left side, he's in the circus, and you see Bruce in the audience. And on the right side, you see Bruce on a wall. And Dick has been kind of walking a tightrope, Dick/Robin, in the series of reconciling what just happened to his parents, trying to figure out where he fits in with Wayne Manor and Bruce and all that. I think it's symbolic, and I think it's super cool. I dig it.
Yeah, I like this a lot. These have been fun covers here with Robin, and we actually see part of this happen, in the book. So that's kind of cool.
It's cool.
So in this, your writer is Mark Waid. Co-plot is Mark Waid, Chris Samney, artist Chris Samney, colorist Matthias Lopes, letterer Clayton Cowell with Chris Samney, and editor Rob Levin. And in this issue, Robin has been captured by General Grimaldi and his men, held captive in his office. Batman tracks down Robin's abandoned Batcycle, but he knows where Grimaldi's headquarters actually is. Distracting the top entrances with a remote-controlled bat kite, Batman circles around to the back to discover a hidden laboratory with a man being experimented on and transformed in a deformed hawk-like creature. The experiment goes wrong and a fire breaks out. Grimaldi and his goons abandon the building while Robin escapes using a makeshift tightrope across the adjacent skyscraper before Batman finds him. Back at the Batcave, Bruce scolds Dick for running out on his own, accusing him of not taking their mission seriously. Dick maintains that he's been in training since the age of 3 to become the world's greatest aerialist, and that he maintains a vow to protect the people of Gotham from criminals like Zuko. Relieved at the similarity to himself, Bruce admits that they can help each other. Her issue ends in an abandoned storage facility. Two-Face has found Grimaldi and offers him the stolen files from Commissioner Gordon's office, which include suspects on the identity of the Batman. So, issue number 6. This series continues on. It's pretty. I don't know. It's pretty great. If you're not reading this, why aren't you?
Exactly, and there's certain books that I buy, like non-comic book fans that are like these kinds of things, like New Frontier or some other, self-contained books that you don't have to like read 150 issues. Like when this comes out on graphic novel, I'll probably give this as gifts, to be honest with you, to people. Like,
oh yeah, this is a good one.
Casual comic people, or just people that I think would be interested in reading it on playing on a business trip or something. Like this screams gift to me. It's a great book. I love it. And I don't want to quibble with it, but what did you think of the part about like they're not going to take his mask off? Did you buy the explanation from Grimaldi, like he doesn't really care? Because I don't
know if I totally bought that, just because, okay, if you take it off, he'll just be some unrecognizable kid.
Right. Well, maybe
the Batman is the one that we want to get.
Well, yeah, I suppose, but I can't. In this story, in classic Batman stories, there's been times where there's been news articles about Bruce Wayne and his ward, Dick Grayson, and people know that Dick Grayson's parents died in the circus and yada yada. So I don't know if that's part of this, but it felt a little flimsy that just one of those guys in the transport or something would have just taken it off. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being too cynical.
You would have thought.
Yeah.
I didn't really think too much into it.
I'm not trying to find stuff or anything, but
yeah,
it's just I found it a little kind of funny, kind of convenient, or maybe I don't know. But the art is still superb throughout. Like it's always sometimes these little facial expressions, especially of Robin.
Oh yeah,
that are just so priceless.
I mean, when he gets out of the ropes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking at it right now.
And he's like, "You morons! You call these knots?"
And then he does this little thing with his hand, like ta-da, and it's pretty cool. But then focusing more on the Batman or the Dick and Batman, Robin, whatever the relationship we've been talking about. It's kind of funny too. I just noticed it. This is very real. They would have taken his utility belt, and he doesn't have it anymore, which I think is kind of unique. You notice that when he's like
interesting.
It doesn't have his utility belt. But like when they're talking in the Batcave, this is a pivotal scene. This is a pivotal scene, and he doesn't have it in the Batcave either. I think there's a pivotal scene, a turning point in the story with respect to their relationship, which we've talked extensively about on previous episodes. And Batman's really challenging him, kind of lecturing him, and then Robin or Dick basically turns the tables and has this one look but after Batman says, "This isn't a show. If you aren't going to take this job seriously, maybe I made a mistake in taking you in." And then there's one panel of just Dick with a glare, and he yells at him, "I do take it seriously," and then so on and so forth. And then they're kind of like, Batman's shocked. He likes the fact that Dick stood up to him, and they kind of are now in a new place. Did you? After, because they've been feeling each other out for the last few weeks.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a turning point. Do you?
No, I agree. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it was great. It was well executed.
He and I didn't expect that from Bruce, actually. To say, we can help each other. It makes total sense, but
being Batman not being a warm and fuzzy guy or something.
Yeah.
I think it makes sense. I think if he was a cold, hard jerk all the time, why would these kids hang with him? Just over the vengeance stuff? I don't know. I think I liked it. I liked it. So, and then this Two-Face stuff is kind of interesting. Is he being paid? Is Two-Face being paid, or is he just, does he want to get the Batman so he sees that Grimaldi might be able to help him get the Batman?
Yeah, he wants something out of this.
Yeah. I don't know. But anyway.
Yeah.
And this was 6 or is this 7?
This is 6.
Okay, so we're half done now.
Yeah, I would think so.
All right. Okay, cool.
It's either a 10 or 12 issue miniseries.
Okay, okay, cool. All right, then. We just nailed 5 issues.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. So
some good issues there.
Yeah, for sure.
Some good issues. So,
and not that I'm springing this on you deliberately, but is our next episode going to be more Batman, or are we going back to the teen books?
It looks like we're back to our DC currents, because cool. I think we're waiting for one more to
probably
come
Green
out.
Lantern Corps.
It's either Green Lantern or JSA is usually the last one we're always waiting on.
Oh,
so that should be fun. Yeah,
that should be fun. Yeah, cool.
Fun.
All right, man. Well, okay. Same bad time, same bad channel, all that stuff.
Basically, we thank you from getting current with Gotham Currents, and we will see you later.